Let's go to the phones. Calling from a 954 area code. I just turned it on. That's why there's so few people. 954.
Sammy? Michael, Miami. How are you?
Michael in Miami. How are you, sir?
Sweating like the rest of us down here. Wait, listen. Okay, I'm going to probably fall in the minority, the extinct minority here. I enjoyed the interview with Stevens. He is a pro. I don't think he may have understood who you were and your background. His publicist probably just set it up. So he may have thought it was just another MSNBC kind of left the center thing that's going to sit there. And
oh, I dropped again. Shoot.
Whoops.
Hold on 1 second, Mike.
And it was an MSNBC thing that was just going to sit there. I got his mark.
Questions.
All right, Mike from Miami. I apologize. You were talking and I dropped off the line. So you said his publicist told him it was probably just another one of those MSNBC type of things.
Right. He wasn't prepared for you. He was not prepared for what you were offering, nor did he know your background, I think, probably to the extent he should have. So that when you approached him with your line of questioning, he wasn't going to be, he was probably taken aback a little bit. But he, like you said before, he's a pro. He's handled this stuff before. He's not an idiot. And in a grudging sense, I know this is going to give me a lot of hate. I actually like what he had to say in terms of how he responded from a circular standpoint, from a global standpoint, not from a specifics. From a specifics, obviously he still harbors some of the same positions. And I think the one question I would have asked him, and maybe asked him, I didn't hear it. Where do you differ in substance from where the Trump administration is on taxes, on regulation, on foreign intervention? Where do you substantively differ? Even if it was a Lincoln Project member. And the answer is they don't. They hate his style. They despise the fact that he's a buffoon. But they don't differ one iota.
No, the only thing that and you're right. I meant to get to that. I thought
you ask. I apologize if you asked. Well, I didn't hear.
You know what? When I asked him when he talked about principles, I think I had in my notes. I was anticipating he would say fiscal responsibility, and that would have brought it up because these guys feel like the tax cuts are not the problem. The problem was that they didn't cut services.
Right.
And yes, I should have gone there, but you know what? He says he's happy to come back. So.
No, I think it was a respectful interview. And I was trying to say it before, you never get him to confess on the stand. It just doesn't work that way.
Right.
All you can do is make your statements in a cross-examination way and see how he reacts and try to, through the totality of the circumstances, put together some type of argument. But I thought, for the most part, I thought it was illuminating. Now, I know a lot of people who listen to your show are going to just flat out say, waste of time, charlatan, total fraud.
Well, take it easy, Michael. I don't think that's the case.
I'm an ultra leftist, and I enjoyed it very much.
Jamie liked it.
It was an all-time interview.
That says a lot, and that says a lot for your maturity, Jamie. So congratulations, because a lot of people wouldn't have. See, the one thing Sam and I have, and since I'm older than Sam, the history and the perspective with knowing what's going on, and so he could pull them to Neshoba County Fair piece out there, even though it was in August of 1980, and those civil rights workers were slaughtered in August of 64. That was an important piece of historical relevance.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't understand that the Republican Party now stands for the same thing that they did 40 years ago. They just have a different model. And you can draw a straight effing line from the Nixon, Roger Stone, Donald Segretti stuff and the political dirty tricks right through Lee Atwater, right through Karl Rove, right through
Brooks Brothers riot. Roger Stone was there, indeed.
Yeah. Donald Segretti. I mean, Matt knows this. He does a lot of historical stuff. The U.S. Mafia stories with him and Dwight Chapin. You understand all that stuff. That's where that shit's never changed.
Nope.
They've never gone away. It's almost as if they bequeath their ignorance to the succeeding generation, or I should say prejudice. And as far as
I'll tell you something, Mike, on that point, I remember Gore Vidal coming in to studio with Janine and I back in the day. And I think he had a book called United States of Amnesia. And he would talk about this. And I couldn't. The funny thing is that I couldn't, I didn't really fully understand. I didn't fully, I understood what he was talking about from an intellectual sense, but I didn't fully appreciate it. But now that I've been doing this for 15 years, where it's like 15 years, that's not that long ago. And you're like, this was such a big deal 15 years ago. And the idea that it is completely not, there's no institutional memory within the media, within our government, within any of this stuff. And and Jamie and Matt and Brendan, you guys are going to experience this too. 15 years from now, when it's like, who would ever think that, and they're going to, say something that Donald Trump would do every day. And that would never happen. And you guys are going to pull your hair out.
It's true. I love Michael to death and I miss him a lot, and the things we would disagree upon, and I would call in and I'd actually get hung up on. I'd say, you don't understand. You're making positions and points and arguments without the breadth of history and the culture and the knowledge of what's going on prior to that. There's a reason why Reagan won 49 states in 84. There's a reason why Nixon won 70 in 72 with a 49 state landslide. You can't ignore that stuff or else you'll walk into the same buzzsaw. They're using the same arguments. And I saw this as a political reporter across the country. The same arguments were used in Michigan. They were used in Virginia. They were used in Florida. They're the same things because it's generally the same consultants who are giving the same talking points. And once it works on one level, it's going to get transferred to another.
I will tell you, that is why it's frustrating. I would tell everyone to read every single one of those 4 Rick Perlstein books. If you have, I don't know how many months it would take you.
Nixon Land, I'm still working through.
Yeah.
But it's a great piece of scholarship and it is helpful, but it's nothing like, and it's funny, you tell these guys that and they're going to laugh at you. But in 15 years, you guys, I promise you'll have the same perspective that Sam just looked at and you go, hey man, we heard about this.
At my retirement party, you guys can remember this and bring it up.
In the Senate.
And then maybe by that time, Michael, I will get my Florida grapefruits. Not my California grapefruits.
You got it. Okay, give me this.
What?
We are in the middle of an international pandemic, and I'm going to drive by the Griffin Road citrus deposit, and I'm going to make sure that I send you guys your packages of grapefruits from the state of Florida with Ron DeSantis' approval. I know you'll look at that part.
No, I can't do it now because we're not. They're all going to go back. But eventually, you're.
By the way, the personal response. I'll let this go on this. The personal responsibility stuff. You know what that's from, right? You know what that's all about. It goes back to the late '60s and the welfare queen. It's lazy people of color who don't want to work, who aren't going to take responsibility. It's the same nonsense. They have 30 kids out of wedlock, and I got to pay for their. The crap I heard growing up in that cycle. It's the same thing. It's been repackaged. It's the same argument.
Appreciate the call, Mike. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Wow. He's really generous with the compliments today. I feel like I'm doing something right now.
I also think he
sure about that.
He also, I might exaggerate the anti-intellectual element of this show a tiny bit, but I think we're pro reading books here.
Well, Michael loves that to let us know that each time he calls.
His ahistorical qualities, yeah.
We are anti-math, but pro-reading. And I will say, I'm going to be at least as cranky as you are, Sam, if I get to be your age and none of this shit's changed.
Oh. Tell me about it.